Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
And like I always say, militancy is a slave and prisoner of captivity. Brothers who are militant are in captivity. If you were not in captivity, you wouldn't be so militant. You would just be doing the things naturally, and you'd be living in peace and happiness and thriving. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask?
I agree on that. I do, and I would like to add to that, because this is something that I have come into contact with studying military history and strategy again, and that is that, you know, you have a lot of people who think militancy is a way of life and is forever. You have a lot of people who think that revolution never ends. Revolution for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of people that are deaf to a new nation, because if you study the rise and fall of any nation that was overthrown by a revolution,
right,
generally what ends up happening is the revolution are what's first of all called the insurgency. They're the gentlemen and the women that, you know, hide amongst the people, and then they come out and they perform guerrilla tactics and things like that. They're anti-government, and eventually they overthrow the government. Once that happens, the big problem is, what do we do with these people? Because all they know how to do is overthrow government.
Yeah, the French Revolution was a perfect example of what you're saying. You know, the French had like a 30-year bloody history. The French Revolution was a real revolution. It wasn't like the American Revolution. The American Revolution was a fight between two aristocrat classes, the American aristocrats and the British aristocrats. The French Revolution really was the peasantry and everything rising up and couldn't stand the aristocracy. What happened was it became so bloody and everything, and so all it knew how to do was destroy in the name of the revolution. It began killing its own self. It began killing its own self. You know? So you're absolutely right about that. People were professional revolutionaries.
Can I ask a question? How many brothers have been in the military or been in the service?
Rob?
Rob, let me ask you something. When you go through basic training, the purpose of going through basic training, right, is to establish your skill set, right? Because after you go through basic training, don't they assign you to a particular part of the Army?
Rob, you on?
Well, I don't know if Rob is on, but
he got cut off.
I was in the military. Yeah, I was in the military. And actually, basic training is to divorce you from what you were before. That is what basic training is. And then they have a thing that's called advanced individual training, where you get your skill set. But
how do they determine where you, like, I noticed that, like, some people will go to infantry, some people will go to different aspects like communication. How do they determine which person goes to what?
Well, you're tested before you join, and you, based on your test, you have a range of jobs that you can fill. If you barely make it this grade, your range of jobs is going to be infantry and infantry. You can pick up a gun and you can go shoot.
Right.
If you're high level, you can do everything up until, you know, military intelligence. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Any money?
I mean, there has to be something in place to learn how to assess skills so that people are put in the positions where they can do what they want to do or what they're trained. You see, what the problem is, and I've made this point before, we don't have any organized nation. So what you got is an open mic where everybody's on the mic. You don't hear, in the United States of America, you do not hear generals giving speeches to the general population. That would be a disaster.
Right.
But in our nation, the generals get up on the mic and they can say whatever the hell they want to say, and so diplomatically.
And then the generals are making decisions. The generals are making decisions. Let's go kill crackers. Let's go blow this, that, other thing. And the bottom line is, those of us who are diplomatic and educated and everything, we're saying, wait a minute here. That's the job of an elected administration thing. That's
exactly.
What I'm saying. We want the idea. We want to talk about nation, but there's no structure because there's no consequences for anybody. What people do is everybody's doing their own thing.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I've always
will give us structure.
I've always made this example using I don't demonize any aspect of our nation. It's just that we have to put things in its proper perspective. If let's say that in Africa, in America, Africans here in America during the time of the '60s, we had a functional nation. Martin Luther King would have been our diplomat, and Malcolm X would have been our general.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
It's not like one. So this discussion about who was right and who was better, and that's ridiculous. Each one had a role to serve within the context of the nation. So I'm gonna tell you, I love Khalid Muhammad. Love that man. I met him personally. I've been around him. Love him. But Khalid Muhammad is a general. You don't put a general on the microphone talking to the general population. The general should be talking to soldiers.
Right. You know, I met him also, and he used to be the supreme captain of the Nation of Islam back then. And, you know, so it's like, and that's the one thing that I would give you context with when it comes to that particular paradigm. You know, I've been a captain, I've been a lieutenant, but for the most part, I've been a minister. There's a different mentality for both. And generally, the one mentality doesn't cross the other. I mean, we have a cliche, and the cliche says that, you know, a good captain is a good minister, but the reality situation is a captain thinks completely different than a minister, completely different. And you do not want your captain in front of the people. You know, like, say, for instance, Khalid was at the Million Man March. Like, that message would have been completely different, y'all. Completely different. It would have been rough, rugged. A lot of people would have wanted to hear it, but at the same time, it would have been completely different. Because he would have been like, yo, damn, crackers are going to die today. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a completely different conversation.